Team Fortress 2 developers recently released a blog post about their proposed changes for the Pyro update. Um, I made a write-up on my thoughts, and I'm just going to be going through that just to, show how I think about these changes. So, let's skip multi-class. I don't use the panic attack. I've never used it. I use the shotgun like 100% of the time. So let's start with spy. Basically, the ambassador, you can't get headshots from like a really long range anymore, but bullet spread is reduced by 50%, which I assume makes it so that you recover faster and you're able to make more headshots at close range. This makes it I think this makes it really powerful, to the point where I would be using this instead of the default revolver pretty much at all times. It's really powerful, but we'll just have to see how it plays. Dead Ringer, I'm okay with these changes. Your Eternal Reward now uses entire cloak meter to change disguises. I think it would be better for it to use half of a cloak meter, but we'll just have to see how it plays when they do it. Let's see, Scout, Sandman I'm okay with. Bonk, Atomic Punch. Basically, you get slowed down at the end of your phase, based on the amount of damage you took during the phase. I think this doesn't flow well, and I think it's kind of disconnected from the action. You get your consequences for your screw-ups after you finished phasing, which doesn't make sense to me. I suggest that you should slow during the effects of the phase. So you're running around, you just drank your punch, right, and you get direct hit by a rocket, and instantly you're like down 25% speed. That way taking damage has more immediate consequences, and I think that's very important. The Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol, the new stats are 15% fire speed, life steal up to 7 health, and then minus 25% clip size. I think the firing speed is an unnecessary buff, or not really a buff. I think you're going to miss more shots with 15% firing speed, and since you have 9 shots in your clip, it just makes the weapon more fluky, as I wrote. The default Scout pistol firing speed is actually pretty okay. I would be okay with a lifesteal weapon that had the default Scout firing speed, because that's, if you shoot a person, I say I'd miss like maybe 4 of my shots in one clip. So 5 times 5, 25. That's 25 health in like a second, basically, at the default Scout firing speed. Like yeah, basically a small health pack in a second. 15% firing speed seems unnecessary to me because that'd be even faster, and then people would miss more shots. I just think that's unnecessary. Criticola, I'm okay with that. Atomizer, for the most part, I'm okay with the changes. I would like that they would remove melee attacks down while airborne mini crit, and just keep the attack speed penalty. Honestly, the attack speed penalty made sense and it worked. Airborne mini crits are just another stupid thing like Market Gardener. No one uses the Market Gardener seriously or competitively. They only use it while they're screwing around, and that'll be the same for the Atomizer, if they go through with this change. So yeah, Flying Guillotine. No longer crits or mini crits, which I think I support. But they added long range hits reduce recharge by 1.5 seconds. I do not support this change. It rewards you for hitting random long range shots, even though in the goal they said remove feeling of randomness and reward accuracy. So what I would do, since you already can't pick this up, I would just say I would reduce the cooldown time. So you throw it, and then you'd get it slightly faster than usual, and then you'd be able to throw it more often, and that would just be it. You throw it, and then sometimes you get damage if you're good and you lead your shots right. I don't want it the recharge time to be based off of something random like a super long range hit. I know they reduced long range distance, but still, it's long range. That's an issue for me, at least. The base jumper, that's good. Man treads, they added air control while blast jumping. I think this is really out of the blue. I don't see why they would add air control to this weapon. If they're going with the theme of like adding lesser versions of weapons, I would just make this a lesser version of the gunboats. Have the push reduction, and then just have less self-damage. Because the air control just doesn't make sense to this weapon. This weapon, to me at least, it seems like a weapon that makes you like heavier, right? Makes you more tough. And then the air control makes you more nimble, and that just doesn't really jive, I think. DDS changes, good, really good. I like how they changed this. And this is okay. Vitasaw, I wrote down, seems useless now. Because it really is. You have to, in competitive, you're not really going for melee hits in any case. Unless you're using the Uber Saw, which gives you an advantage for that. This really doesn't give you an advantage. You'd have to already have Uber for it to give you an advantage, in which case, if you already had Uber, you wouldn't be running in trying to hit people with your melee weapon. I would rather it be like per kill or per assist kill. Per assist kill might be too powerful, so maybe reduce the percentage, and then max the preserved Uber at like 40. Or do it like per kill with like the crossbow or something. Like you get a kill and like you get 20% Uber charge if you die. Crusader's crossbow, basically a bug fix here. I wish they would have changed the nail guns to be more powerful. I don't like having to use the crossbow all the time because it's the best weapon in the game for medic. When I'm equipping the crossbow, I should be trading constant DPS for the ability to have burst damage and to heal my teammates at long range. And at the moment, it just seems like crossbow is the best damage, best healing, best everything. Heavy minigun changes. These are really good. When they initially made these changes, while I was still playing TF2, this is what I thought it would be. Like, just like you need to stay spun up to be accurate and to keep damage. But a lot of people, including me, were misled, and you had to like keep firing all the time, which didn't make sense. This is a completely logical change. This will definitely be in the final version of the patch. Now the GRU. I personally disagree with weapons that make the heavy faster in this game. They're just gonna get banned because heavy is really powerful with more movement. What they did is they made it so you lose damage, you lose health, like max health, over time. So if you hold these out for like 3 seconds, you're gonna have 270 max health, which really doesn't make sense to me. If you're gonna take away from his max health, just do it straight up, you know? Just like 260 max health, or maybe even 200 if you want to be really drastic. 200 max health on a heavy that goes fast all the time. That would be really good. Eviction notice, basically a lesser version of the GRU. I don't like weapons that are like a lesser version. I know I mentioned the man tread should be a lesser version of the gunboats, because that's the only logical change that would make that viable. Eviction notice, I think, was okay at release with the faster firing speed. It was just a really niche weapon, and it wasn't really used in competitive lots because melee has kind of been a finisher in the past, or at least to me. Fist of Steel, no thoughts. I don't ever use this weapon. And then Engineer, Rescue Ranger uses metal. Before, I think you could easily counter the Rescue Ranger by just countering a sentry that you normally would. If you're just like shooting uh, a sentry with like constant damage, he's gonna be healing it obviously, even if he's right there or if he's 50 feet away with the Rescue Ranger. It doesn't make a difference. All you need to do to get rid of that sentry is a demo and 4 stickies, and then it's gone. I think this was already easy to counter, but now it's even easier because the engineers are going to be used to being like, oh, I can just like hang out over here and like heal my sentry without taking damage, and now they're going to run out of metal, which is good. Um, People will use a regular shotgun and actually aim duel me, which is nice. Some things I didn't see on this list. I want Spy to have more utility. I think he's still kind of a useless class. Anything, I think there's a song that's like, anything Spy can do, Sniper does better. And that really made sense because Spy, his whole thing is that you can kill a person instantly with a backstab, but a Sniper really can do that better, and from longer range without dying. Spy dies immediately after you kill someone in a competitive game. I've been pushing this for a while, but I would like for Heavy to be just faster at base speed to make him more powerful, and it'd be used more in competitive. I think the Pyro should have more damage besides like reflect damage. Right now, the only damage he has is like burn damage, which as long as you keep them away, they can't really touch you. I would suggest giving him more range and more damage on his flamethrowers. And then I wish they would change the sword chop to what it was on release. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, remember to email your thoughts to Valve Team. They have a link on their sidebar. And they're pushing for us members of the community to share our thoughts on the subject. They really want to know what we think about this game, what we think about these balance changes, so that they can perfect this new patch and that everyone could be happy. That's it. Those are my thoughts. Peace out.